Yeah, so that, this is the agenda.
No, yeah, 7:05.
Order and start off with allegiance and join if you want. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Galveston? Not here yet. Finley here. Lewis,
Present.
Linky,
Here.
McGill,
Here.
Seacrest, Schwartz. We have a quorum.
So five agenda. Yes. Nothing material.
Just taking off the approval of the amendments. They were done in the August meeting.
What item number is that?
Budget amendments is not on here. That's what I'm saying. Just the update of the new agenda item. What were you, this was,
All, my understanding is all we were gonna do is see the. So, we have a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We didn't get a chance to discuss anything. Okay, sorry. I would like to just discuss rock property easement under,
you gotta talk in your mic.
okay, sorry. Under new business, I would like to see if we can move item P, discuss rock property easement, to be right above item C, resolution to accept the bid for Fireman's Park improvements.
I'm sorry, did you say above or below? C?
Above.
Thank you.
My reason is I'd like to talk about some things. They sort of relate when we get there.
You want D, down.
I'd like to make P C and then move everything down.
Not for me.
I'll tell you that change.
Aye.
I move that we accept or approve the minutes for August 14th, 2023.
Support.
No questions, but I did send in some changes to,
And they were recorded. Thank you.
Say aye.
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 so move. Same, I sent in some changes to the clerk.
No, they wouldn't be. They will be updated in the minutes for the record.
So, if there are going to be changes that are made, this is a question. And they haven't been put in here, so am I correct in saying that we then cannot approve these minutes until those changes are put in here?
No. She's bringing the minutes to the table. And at the table, she's given me the correction so that we're not
going in detail as we've done before. So I have those. They will be reflected in the minutes when they're posted as approved.
Never heard of that.
Yeah,
It's
they're minor.
real. Yeah. it's
Yeah.
real.
They're minor, yeah.
It's real. It's up to you.
I mean, I just.
You want to read them?
I had it
Just
right
read
there.
them. Just read them real quick.
Okay, so am I on? Yep. So the first one on August 14th, under 5 new business, A, the third bullet. Just change trustee McGill to trustee Linky because trustee McGill was supervisor pro tem that day. So it says supervisor pro tem McGill gave the floor to trustee McGill. It should be Linky. Page 1 of August 14th. Minutes. So that was, I think that was it for that one. On August 21st. On page 4. Under C, Youth Arts Alliance, third bullet. Last sentence, this is about Heather Martin talking about she expressed her disappointment that the contract only included one payment from ARPA funds. What she was talking about was 1 year of funding. So I changed to that. Then under D, where the motion was made by Clerk Finley, supported by trustee McGill, just to open the public hearing. So there's an extra word there. That's all this was.
Thank you.
That's why she gave them to me the way. If they weren't, they would have been presented at the table.
Okay, so we have motions for the table. So it's for the August 14th, 2020 special meeting. Special to the minute, correct? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So I get a motion, for August 21st, 2023. Minutes.
Move to approve.
We already did both of these and Ken, in the future, can you, as I'm the clerk, so instead of asking my deputy, I have the updated and the correct. Thank you. That's just how it should be done.
We have
Correct.
this, which was when Rhonda was pro tem, that was from
The 14th.
So, all right, so we have a motion and support David from August 21st.
Yeah.
Any other changes?
No.
No.
So it's administrative changes. All in favor of approving the 2021, August 21st, 2023, regular meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Vote. Down to citizen participation.
Great.
Is there any citizens that would like to participate tonight? Make a statement to the board about anything on the agenda yet, Jack? Just identify yourself where you live.
Yes, Jack Smiley. I live on Cherry Hill Road. Regarding the rock property easement, I'm not sure how far along the draft is, but I just want to let you know I'm willing to review it prior to the board taking a vote on it. I've handled quite a few easements and especially quite a few with the county, so.
Anybody else wants to make a comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to reports. We as supervisors report folks. Stante Construction has constructed 3 of the first 4 and 3 of the 4 manholes down at the pump station. So they're moving faster than they thought. The 4th pump station, or 4th manhole should probably be done construction in 2 days. At that point, they'll have to abandon the old pump station, the old pump station, connect the pipes, and then they'll have to do some internal work on setting up the pumps inside the new pump station, and then the project is substantially complete at that point. So I was down there today, met with the OHM inspector, and asked us when we can get done. He goes, well, we're moving a lot faster. He got the contract today, faster than expected. They expect to be done in 2 weeks. Every manhole, pipe, assuming the abandonment of the institution, as said, there'll still be some more work that needs to be done. There'll be some grading that has to be done. And there'll be a parking lot to the parks. And then we'll have to grade the seat, and I don't know if that's going to happen this year. They look like it could, but we're finishing up. I think we're going to finish up the block treatments faster than our best guess. That's great. Blackbird Lodge is the name they gave to the facility out at Dot State Park, County Farm Park. And last week there was an open to the officers of the township, the park commissioners, architects, and engineers. And so anybody who wants to take a tour of that, just tell me, and I'll give you Jason Gold's contact information, and you guys can set up a tour and go. Well, we did not have a work session today, but I do believe that we need a work session coming up in the next agenda. And I'm going to suggest that we hold it at over 7 o'clock in the township hall. Two things I think we need to discuss. One is the agenda format, being able to do consent agenda, so we're going to board. And then also, we just had some discussion of play bill, whether that's the zoning is done, now it's down to contract leases and things that are going to be permitted or not permitted, like some fair amount that we have to discuss now. The wetland delineation is in, so that's done. And some of the clearing of the land has been done, but it looks like that's slowed down. And after today, I'm gonna send back to Juan and Shannon the questionnaire for the soil borings and the testing. So I don't know when that would be done, but I would imagine probably within 30 days. I don't know. So I'll get that done tomorrow. And those are 2 things that we definitely could discuss. How people feel about October 4th and 7th.
I'm not available at 7.
What time?
Well, 7, but it's a work session. We can hold it at different times.
I'm not available earlier.
Or-
I have a meeting earlier.
All right, so why don't we do this? I'll discuss it with Lisa and then we'll get some feelers out. We'll figure out a time, but do we have a certain agreement that's what we can use a work session?
So,
Well, I think, yeah, we discussed that earlier. Yes.
Okay.
so will we hit
The date.
October 4th?
That's what I was suggesting.
The place is not available.
So I'd like to make sure that we spend enough time, like if we have an agenda to spend enough time on the budget. I know that we were given the budget today or for today's review. But it would be really nice to have some of the department heads here when we discuss it.
Yeah, that's fine. Taxation. So we'll set the budget hearing for October and the treatment taxation hearing in October, but if prior to that time, I think that would be a good idea session. So why don't, we think about those things? We don't want to get too much on there, otherwise
Oh, I know.
it goes long, or we just leave it focused.
So what was today's supposed work session that got canceled? What was on that particular agenda? Was that everything? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Two of the things that I just said, it was.
Yes, it did.
over tonight's agenda. Right.
It included everything you just said, except for,
The consent agenda, because I was excited about.
right.
that. But it was it was something else. I just want to make sure that we're.
That's all that-
No, there were 2 items, the consent agenda,
The discussion.
yeah, of the unfinished items.
Unfinished business. Because we've got a lot of,
Others.
but there's an ongoing list of unfinished business within the township that we needed.
And you need to turn on your mic.
Thank you. Someone else saying it.
All right.
We have a lot of unfinished business in the township that needs to be, we need to go over as a part of the working session. And then one of the other things, if we're gonna move towards a consent agenda, I would like to just respectfully ask once more that all reports, including the supervisor report, be provided to the board in advance in writing so that we can review and have an opportunity to digest and understand what we're being asked to approve in advance, because there's just tonight, the three things that you listed are things that there's probably more questions about. And rather than approving and that being taken as an assumption of we are saying go run with it, that we need to make sure that we are all in alignment.
Well, I understand that, but like the Stante stuff, I just found out about that today. And the abandoning the pump station down there, that was all learned today. The Blackbird Lodge was last Wednesday or Thursday. I probably could have included that, but I didn't think about actually doing that until I think Bernie suggested it, that to have tours if someone wants to go down a tour.
Yeah.
That, so that, that was already, stuff was handed in on that. The work session, that was an issue that just came up today. Baker Tilly, we met with them, I think last Thursday. Something like that.
Yes.
And so there was probably a couple of things I could have done, but like the enhancement grants, what I want to talk about, I just found about that Friday. So something's just come
Are
up at the
those
last.
things that we should be talking about and making a decision on in this meeting?
No.
So it can go into the written form and be provided for us to make decisions for the next meeting.
Well, what I'm
Are you-
providing you is
I'm
just
just saying,
information, but
Decisions. If you don't need decisions, I'm okay.
yeah, I don't need any decisions on anything that I'm presenting on this. you
Okay,
know?
I just want to make sure that we delineate the difference between providing an update or providing a report. I just wanna be
Well, what is the delineation? In your
To
opinion?
me, providing an update is what you provided with regards to the information with LaSalle property. Or no, not LaSalle.
Yeah, right.
But with the pump stations, that's an update, but then when if it's things that we need to have like more in-depth, like you're talking about contracts, leasing, Clay Hill and other things, those are things that apparently there's been some thought behind that, and just the wetland delineation, all of those things. I think those should be a part of a report that we are able to review and then have a substantive discussion.
Well, I provided the information in the past. We all approved those contracts with the various vendors to do the work down there. And it really just kind of came up because because I understand that Juan might have forwarded something to Fred regarding Clay Hill today. I don't know if it was today. Okay, so lots of things that I bring sometimes will come at the last minute, but I'll try to do better. Okay,
That's all I'm asking.
got it. Okay, so last week, Lynette and I on Thursday, I think at 3:00, we had a Zoom meeting with Baker Tilly and Andy Campbell, and they are the group we hired to do our water and sewer rate analysis. So we just kind of laid out like kind of what's happening, and then they have requested a whole lot of information, which I think Keith and Nancy, you got a copy of that from Andy? Yeah, so they'll be able to provide most of that information. At this point, we probably won't be meeting for a while with them because they got to get the information, kind of work things out. So they're going to do water and sewer rates, and OHM is doing water and sewer connection charges. So, hopefully that will all be done by the end of the year without a problem. DVG, the Dixboro Village Green, it's probably something I could have put in earlier, is they're going to take some bids on the septic system for the one-room schoolhouse. So Tom is going to handle that, I believe, getting the bids out on the septic. On Friday, the road commission started laying limestone and correcting some of the issues up and down Cherry Hill Road here, including that huge slog on the knob up there at Berry Road. So, and then I got an email from, I think it was the Department of Treasury, about the enhancement grant that we received, $150,000 for the safety island down at, on Harris Road, and she was wondering why I didn't turn in all the information on that, and I sent her to it again, sent it to her again. It was sent on March the 3rd, so she automatically authorized payment for half of that, so that'd be 35, 7, 1/2 of 75, 37.5.
That's what it says on it.
Yeah, 150.
We already received 75. We received that about a year ago. We got a grant. Brenda got this for $150,000 to do safety improvements down on Harris Road and down on MacArthur and Harris, that whole area right there. When we got approved for the grant, we got a check for $75,000 at that time. Well, we completed the work done. And we had another 75,000, up to 75,000 coming. So I put in all the invoices and put in a letter, and I think the total came up to 136. Don't hold that to me. So I asked Treasury if I could take the excess, the 14,000 that we didn't spend but were allotted, if I could apply that to more safety projects happening in the general area, which is, like the crosswalks and things like that. She said, yeah. So we'll be getting half of this, 37.5, probably this week. I don't know if Nancy's got to get or not. Yeah. And then I will submit the extra information for the projects that we were doing down on MacArthur and be able to collect, hopefully, I think it'll happen, another 14,000. We'll get another 37.5 in there. Then the grant's closed out. And that's my report. So liaison reports, Bernice, do you have a report tonight?
I turned it in, a written report. For somebody.
You want to talk about it at all, or?
That's why she turned it in.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want to talk about it?
No,
Oh.
they're doing good. There was, I know that we're gonna talk about the bid for the Fireman's Park playground, so I can wait till that's going on.
Okay, thank you. That takes us to the Community Center Advisory Committee update. Lynette, do you have a?
Yes, not to take away from the thrill and the great work that's going on in the Community Center Advisory Committee. I have submitted a written report, so I'm not going to discuss anything other than we're waiting on a letter of agreement or the approval from Ypsilanti Public Schools for the land. And that's what the county is waiting on. And Juan and I visited a wonderful community center this past Thursday, Juan. St. Clair, it was outstanding. It is totally gorgeous. We're gonna plan a meeting for the chairs of the subcommittees. Should go for a separate visit. And with that, I'll keep the rest very brief. Because I submitted it in writing,
So you're done with that?
because it's in writing.
Okay, so can I get a motion to receive those reports plus the departmental reports? Support. Okay, so that would include building, fire, ordinance, parks, park minutes, and the sheriff's report. Do I have a motion? Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion on any of those?
Yes, I still would like to talk about the false alarms. They went down this month for fire. But I know that we're also budgeting an amount for it, so we can talk about that when we get to the budget. At last month's meeting, Lisa said something about is it your area that would raise the false alarms amount, or is it the chief? So I didn't understand that.
Well, it'd be either the board or the chief.
Okay.
We have to do a little research
Okay.
on that.
That would be good to
think that
still do.
false-
They've gone down, but they were really high last month,
The false alarm, I think it's $25.
right?
It's been there.
For the first one.
For the first one, that's been there since I've been here.
Right, and there's multiple
first
ones, and there's multiple ones for some of the same addresses.
And I mean, the chief is here. I got a report about, I think it was two brothers who lived over at West Ridge. and maybe Jeff would be, captain could fill us in where they have, I think, had 180 calls for service this year. One 128. So, you know, at some point, they have to go on every call. They just don't have.
Oh, I get that, but I'm just, right.
But at some point, you can do a cost recovery ordinance where, you know, if this is going on and you're not providing a service of any kind except maybe taxi or something along those lines, you can then initiate some cost recovery and then
Sure.
temper it down.
Sure. Also, is there anybody from the sheriff's department here? No,
Katrina went on vacation like that.
I think
No,
she was
she's-
last time.
Yeah. she
The
was
time before
amazing.
that.
Yeah, so we really would like, we keep asking for someone from the sheriff's department to come in. One of the questions I wanted to ask them today is at the movies in the park, there was some youth that were disrupting the movie. And I guess it took a while for the sheriff's department to get it there, but they're supposed to be in that area. So I would have liked to have asked them why.
Coordinate with them on that movie date. Did you call the sheriffs and let them know that we were doing it that day, Juan? You don't let them know. Okay.
But they're
Probably
supposed,
should let.
but they're supposed to be in that area. So that's, I would just like to ask them, Ken, if they could come to the meeting as part of the contract. That would be
Sure.
nice.
You know, I think Lynette's asked twice or three times, right? At least. And then I've asked a couple times and I thought she was coming to tonight. Then I
Maybe-
saw,
Gary Clayton with a request.
Yeah, maybe that,
We should do that. I'll write up some.
okay.
well, no, I don't think you should do that.
Why?
Let's let Katrina, you can request Katrina. We have never requested her in writing. She's our lieutenant.
But we haven't, and we have in person, Ken. I was with you when you requested her.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
So I think it would be time to talk to Jerry or just
Yeah, I don't think
withhold
so.
payment.
And if anyone talks to Jerry, it should be the supervisor.
Oh, I think any trustee or board member
No, I
could.
don't think so, really.
I do.
You know,
But what we've
Yeah,
asked so
but
many
it-
times,
I
we've
agree
asked,
with
I mean,
her.
if we've asked 10 times, Ken,
At least representation.
I know, we've asked again and again. I just don't get that.
I'll send Jerry an email tomorrow. Request that we have somebody in person. If she's not available,
Somebody.
she would be the proper person
Oh, we
because she's the
know.
one who does. the
Right,
reports.
right, that we would love to have her.
Yeah, but my understanding, and maybe Lynette knows more than me, is that like she had an unplanned vacation or something for today, or
I don't recall
I,
getting.
I,
May not.
I don't really know this for a fact. Okay, so that. Have we called the question on the departmental reports yet?
Yes, we have.
We have. Okay, all in favor of receiving the reports as submitted, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Communications, we have, a letter regarding sidewalk repairs from Stephanie. Is Stephanie in the audience tonight? No. If I could get a motion to receive that letter. So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. B, letter of resignation from Marion Morris. We need a motion to receive the resignation. So moved.
Support.
Of course, Marion's been with the township for decades. And she's got a lot of institutional knowledge about things and she'll be missed. So we have a motion on the table to receive the resignation and support.
With regrets.
Yeah,
I
with
mean, I understand that she has some health issues, but certainly I would like to say with regrets because I think that she added a whole lot to that department.
okay.
I think it would be nice if we did a resolution.
I agree.
We could do that.
Completely.
next
Thanking
week.
her.
I would agree.
Would somebody like to take that on and with the flowery language? Okay, that'd be great. Thank you, Bern.
With the what?
Flowery language.
There's flowers too.
She sure does.
Oh, yes, we have Terry Lee Lansing. Yeah. Right. So we could do both with your help one.
Okay,
I've known Marion for years. I'd just like to say she gave her life to this place. You know,
Right.
don't she dedicated herself to trying to preserve something like what we have here, that
I
open
concur.
landscape.
I'll get some thoughts from you too then.
I'd love to get some.
Okay, all in favor of receiving the resignation from Mary Moore, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing none. A letter remembering 9/11 from Kevin Schleelmeyer, State of Michigan Fire Marshal. If we can get a letter to receive, a motion to receive.
Support.
All in
Support.
favor?
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So unfinished business, A, B, C. Those were tabled. So I guess we just reaffirm the table and we'll deal with those in October. And then there's a motion to increase the poverty exemption for the township sidewalks. I believe that's in here, isn't it?
Now we're supposed to be moving to what was item P, the rock property.
No, that's when we get to new business. We're on unfinished business.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're at D.
Thank you.
Yep.
My apologies.
You got it. Okay. So,
It's, can I,
Yes, I did it.
going back to that tabling,
Yeah.
if we table those, I know that there's another, resolution to move Nancy Mason under Keith, and I would like to table that as well then.
when we
since
get to,
Okay, is that, so we can,
that's fine. Thank you. Did, poverty exemptions, I think we gave we requested $5,000 to be added to every category.
Where are you, Kate?
it wasn't 5,000, I thought it was 20%.
Is Irma here?
Yes, she is.
Come on up, Irma.
I thought it was 20%.
Percentage and the difference is about $100.
Oh, between 5,000 and 49.
Cause it went from like 35,142 to 35,170.
So that would be an exemption for a single person, married, a couple, and then 1, 2, 3.
It goes right, yeah, go right down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 7.
So we had found that there's quite a few people that find it kind of hard to meet their obligations. So this would probably help some of the people at the lowest end of the income level to be able to afford the sidewalks. So I guess I'd be willing to hear a motion that would increase the poverty exemption for township sidewalk ordinance purposes by 20% over the poverty exemption for the township's board of review, the property exemption.
So moved.
Support.
All right. Are we good with that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That takes us down to new business, resolution 2357 to approve the AAATA POSA for fiscal year 24. They're calling it.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, let's take a quick look at that. So the fixed route service is for October 1st, 2023 to September 30th, 2024. The fixed route service is $67,262. The A-Ride demand response is $23,897. The capital cost, so we help pay for the new buses. So we chip in on that. That's $14,678 for a total cost for transportation with AAATA for the following year of $105,835. I'll get them to you afterwards.
Is that an increase over last year?
It's always an increase every year.
Probably just 4%.
The background is in there.
So we got motion on that
So moved.
and support. We need a roll call. You ready?
I am ready. Galveston absent. Lewis,
Yes.
Finley, yes. McGill,
Yes.
Linky,
Yes.
Seacrest,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes. Okay, that takes us to resolution 58. This is to approve a 63-month lease of copiers in the township hall. Nancy, you want to talk about what's happening with the current copier? It's just, so are we renewing the lease? Or are we getting a new machine? Okay. Right.
I move resolution 2023-58.
You have support? Did you so report it, Bill? Okay, we think everything is self-evident here. Could you call the roll? This is the contract.
Lewis,
Yes.
Caviston absent, Linky,
Yes.
Finley, yes, McGill,
Yes.
Seacrest,
Yes.
Schwartz, unanimous.
Okay, so that takes us now to what is C, but what was P, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
So a few weeks ago, I can't remember exactly, must have been in their August meeting,
August
Yeah.
8th,
August,
8th.
August the 8th, I think it was sooner than
You talk
that.
about the Parks and Rec meeting
Yeah,
for Washtenaw County?
yeah, was it?
It was August 8th.
All right, so on August 8th, we had requested Washtenaw County, we asked them if they would like to hold the easement on the rock property. And so I sent Coy Vaughn an email asking him if he would do that. He took that to his board, and their board said that they will draft an easement, which is more or less their standard easement. And they'll buy that easement from us for $1 and other consideration. And then we'll have an opportunity to review the easement. It'll probably be very similar to the easement that we took on the block property that we didn't take. The county took on the block property. And one thing I really want to make sure is that, we've been threatened here with like an industrial chicken farm. We look at this easement and just, Fred can look at it, and then they're going to do a phase 1. They're going to pay for the phase 1 on the site, and they're going to pay their attorney to draft the conservation easement for us. And then once they feel that they got it kind of wrapped, what they think is a reasonable expectation on their part, they'll send it to me and we'll share it at the board. And if I get it by the work session, that'd be a good thing to talk about, but I don't think it's coming in.
So I wanted to discuss this, Ken, because I don't think we all understood that we were giving the entire property to the county. When you said the easement, the conservation easement, I think we all need to understand that, we just purchased that for $2.4 million a couple of years ago. And now to give it, just to sort of, we're going to still be paying for it for 10 years, Superior Township will. So just to give it for $1 in some other consideration to the county, I think we all need to understand that this is what's being proposed, and we weren't there. And in the minutes, it said that we were going to host it,
Whatever.
or the Washtenaw County Parks and Recreation was going to host it.
They'll own the easement.
Okay, so in the beginning, when we were first deciding on purchasing this property, one of the things that we made clear is that we wanted to purchase it with the idea that we would have programming, children's programming out there. Furthermore, when Jack Smiley wrote wherever you are, Jack, wrote the grant, we added a whereas in that clause of the resolution where we were accepting that or approving that, the natural, what was it called?
Yeah,
That's for a
MS.
different parcel.
That is,
natural
that's not for the
resource.
rock.
That's for a
I
different
thought that-
parcel.
Okay, so, well, we would really, we'd like to go back. I thought that was the rock property.
It was mentioned in the resolution.
Yeah, it was mentioned in the resolution, so we're confused about that.
Only as to boost the score because it's next to preserve. property.
Okay, so that, again,
If I can address that for a second, Bernie.
sure.
So from the very beginning, we knew that we were getting a land contract. And they were gonna take the land contract and we were gonna bond for that and then we'd own it outright. Right now, the property is not protected except by the limitations imposed by the bond. And it was always that we were going to find someone who would hold the easement so future boards could not decide to sell it, subdivide it, or do whatever they want. And so you could go, I think I asked Jack about the SMLC host, they're not hosting it, but purchasing it. And I think Jack told me at that time they were like too busy for that at this point, or there were stewardship issues or something. I can't remember. So I went to the county. I told everybody I was going to the county parks, and we could not have a better partner than the county parks on this particular issue, because they zealously guard their easements. It puts power into the county to make sure that whatever we put in there and agree to with the county parks, they have the enforcement mechanism to be able to move on it in the event that there's an issue. Somebody goes in there and cuts a whole bunch of trees down, county parks will be there and will be able to enforce that easement. If you give it to, I don't know, some charity perhaps, then they may not have the same resources to be able to enforce the easement over time.
So we're doing it because they have more resources than we do and they can maintain it.
They have the expertise at the county parks. They run the NAP program, the Natural Areas Preservation Program. They know what needs to go into a conservation easement. We'll all have an opportunity to review it.
I like it.
And we can keep part of it for programming or anything. That's not a problem. This is to prevent it from being devastated by a future board that might come along and say, well, we got a huge asset out there.
So
It's unprotected. Let's sell it.
I thought we were, at one point we spoke about the Parks Department having some of that responsibility.
right.
Our parks you talk about? No, they're not for the conservation easement, but perhaps for some programming out there.
For program.
We're talking about maybe building a summer at school, but summer recreation for kids, a building out there for that. But if we gave it to the parks, it would be like giving it to ourselves. We need an independent party to hold the easement. And there's not a better organization in the country than Washtenaw County Parks to hold it.
They're already protecting a lot of land.
Right.
here.
They're already doing it, yeah.
They're good.
So-
Solid. They're just gonna stop the trailer park.
So the connection, once I get it, you know, I just wanted to make sure that we all understood that it was the whole shebang. But that Superior Township residents will still be paying for it
Yeah.
in the future.
We still own the land. We are not giving them anything but the right to prevent development. That's all we're doing. We own the land. We make the decisions about the land, but our decisions need to be consistent with the easement. So if the easement says, you can't have an industrial chicken farm like they kind of proposed down here with 300,000 chickens, then they can come in and say, you can't do that.
So when you said $1 and other consideration, could you explain other consideration?
That's just a legal term that's used to show that there's been valid consideration.
So
The
what-
other consideration is really helping us manage that property over time.
Do we have to pay them to manage? the property?
No, unless we entered into a separate contract, and they are not managing it per se. They are guarding the resources from exploitation that is inconsistent with the easement. I really don't see this as being a big issue myself. I mean,
I think we just.
when
need
we
to-
get the easement, I'll definitely pass it along, because it'll probably be like 8 to 10 pages long.
Okay.
You know, and they'll pass it along, and if you have any ideas or concerns about that, we'll talk it out. The county will hold it possibly, not they couldn't do it, but if no, it's not going to do that one unless you want to go out and subdivide the land or cut down trees or change the environment in some way. You know, that, yeah, no, it doesn't impede the township board can allocate money to the parks to do something out there in the future, and the county would have no say, and they could not deny that unless we were doing something that was constructive of the natural resources on that property.
So we can do programming that would be beneficial to residents within the township.
Yeah, we can do programming out there. We could build a small building like we thought about, hosting kids in the summer. You could have maybe some equine out there. I don't know. Fred, you got a question or? Yeah, but the county is definitely gonna want assurances that we're not gonna try to undermine the conservation values of the property. That's all they're really interested in. And having a program out there for kids does not do that at all. It would be good.
Exactly.
Yeah, it always was going to be that we could have a small, a building out there. The board could approve the purchase the construction of a building out there for our own purposes, as long as our purposes were consistent with the conservation easement. And I don't see where we would do anything inconsistent with the conservation easement. Almost all of them have a small parking lot built into it, definitely. Yeah. So, but they're not going to manage the parking lot. They're not going to build it. That would be our responsibility. Right. Yeah, no, we're going to have parking there, probably more than one spot. All right. Well, we can't put it where there's trees unless the trees were of no value, like a bunch of scrub brush or something like that. Doesn't mean you can't maintain the property or remove invasive species or dead trees. But you got 301 acres out there. I think you can find a spot to put a barn. Basically that's probably what we're gonna be looking at, some sort of barn. There'd be plenty of space.
One last question.
Yeah.
Have we ever done this before with the county? With conservation easements where they've taken on our property?
Well, the only conservation easement we have now is on the Cherry Hill Nature Preserve, and we have that with SMLC.
There is not.
We put one on there, Jack. I can't remember that. No. All right.
Okay, so has there, to your knowledge or to Ken's knowledge, has another municipality ever paid partially a little bit for an easement? And I'm asking that, and this will go on to the next agenda item.
What do you mean?
So, okay, all right, because we'll talk about it in the next.
I mean, they're not going to give us. They're going to buy the easement, and but it's going to just be for some like $1 in other consideration. They're not going to say, well, here's $400,000. I mean, that would undercut their own parking program. Okay, are we good? All right. As soon as I get it, we'll forward it to Fred and to the whole board, and the board can take a look at it.
It's a very powerful partnership we've had with the county and the city of Ann Arbor in terms of trying to protect the open space of our townships.
Well, you look at Stabler, I mean, that was started by the township, but it was secured by the county, and everything done out there has been done by the county. It's been fantastic for our community.
Yes.
And they spent $700,000 on the block property. They spent $600,000 or $700,000 on the old Meyer farm. So they've invested in the community.
Let's see.
Okay, so that does not require a vote. That was just more information. Discussion. Okay, so that takes.
Point out,
Yes.
Dan Ezekiel, who's the head of the Washington County Parks and Recreation Open Space, is going to be the keynote player at our Red Barn Bash coming up on October 28th. Mark your calendars. Come on down to Vivian and Bill Young's barn down the road, and we will be having our biennial celebration of securing nature here between the converging metroplex.
Thank you.
You're all invited.
Well, you gotta buy a ticket. Yeah. So it's $100, I think, a ticket, right? Yeah, something like that. But you know, it's going to a good cause. All right, so that takes us to resolution 59, accept the bid for Fireman Park improvements. Juan, do you want to talk about this at all?
Their technical stuff. So we submitted a request for bids for the Fireman's Park project. We did receive 3 bids initially, and they were all over the place. We received 3 bids and they were all $100,000 apart from each other. So we went back to the drawing board, submitted a couple things because we thought the bid was a little bit high, and resent it out. We did receive 2 bids back. And for some reason, our low bidder, who we were initially very happy with, used a different playground feature supplier. So their playground feature bid went from 200,000 to 300,000. So now they were the high bidder. So the second place bid essentially remained unchanged, I believe, which was KAB contracting. And they all of their information pretty much stayed the same as far as their bid package and the playground amenities and the drainage and so forth. So we originally had 318,000 allocated already for Fireman's Park just for the playground features, the playground, the fitness equipment, the walking trail, and we knew we were going to have a gap on the drainage. We had talked about the drainage, doing the drainage first, so we weren't throwing money away if we did it later. So that was not part of the original funding that we had set aside. So you see that bid there from KAB for 529,864. So that does include the playground structure, the pavilion, the fitness equipment, the walking trail, as well as all the underground drainage that I'll let Claire address. If you have a question about that.
I don't. I have one big question is how are we paying for this?
The 318,000 was all allocated with ARPA funds.
Right?
So that,
With another 210,000.
so that's why we're here. That's why we're here to see, you know, what the ideas are and what the board thinks. What's your commitment to that park over there and the folks there and the neighborhood and the improvements we can make. So.
You want to Claire,
Are there any
you
questions
have
by the
something to
board?
add?
Yes.
No, does
So-
Claire want to finish before we have questions? Did you have anything to add?
I don't think I had anything to add, just here to answer questions if you had any.
So that's where I was trying to get at, like maybe the county would come up with a little bit from the rock property, but I got it. So I think that for Fireman's Park and for parks in general, that we really should support our residents and our children in that area. You talked about having a park that was, you know, with a big wow factor. We know we have to spend money, you know, when you look at what we spend money for in the past, and again, I'll go back to the rock property, 2.4 million. We only have to come up with 211,000 to do this. I say we find it in in one of the reserve accounts. And I would ask for Keith or Nancy to say where it might come from, and maybe we could talk about that. But I don't think we can't stop now. We've got to.
There's a lot of money involved here with $200,000. You know, the bids were so high. I think we should really put it over for 1 year and see what happens with this price.
Oh, boy,
I mean, we're talking $500,000 really for playground equipment and some drainage.
but we
Yeah,
already.
It is, but
Yes,
you know,
right.
you've spent nearly that on ARPA programs, correct?
No,
Now we've spent,
it's been 850,000 for the county.
For the ARPA,
He
We
said
spent
that.
190 on the farm. We spent 50,000 with the county. We spent 135 with CLR and Arts Alliance. That's close to $500,000 that we spent for programming that the end of the year, all we're gonna have to show is, hey, we did some programming, which is a great thing for them people, but we have no physical assets left out of any of this money. Unless we do a project like this.
And how much was the drainage?
The drainage is,
Close to 120, is it, or something?
It's 140, so the category one, on the bid tab, that's the drainage improvements. And we did discuss possibly, once, if we were to award the contract, removing one of the components because it's outside of the pathway. So that could potentially bring the cost down. There's also some contingency built into this with the contingency allowance and the drainage improvements. That's $10,000. And then there's some undercutting with the pathway that adds another, let's see, that's another 14,000 and mostly contingency items. So it is possible that at the end of the day, we could get down below 500, but.
Lisa, did you have a question?
I do. I have a question for clarification. So if we accept this bid of $529,000, is this minus $318,000 and then the difference is $211,864.78?
that is correct.
I say if we're going to pay for an attorney to look into a sexual assault case or whatever we're paying an attorney for, we need to find $211,000 to make sure that some children are having some success in some areas. We need to find the money somewhere, somehow.
I appreciate that.
Well, the only place it is in reserves. And Keith,
So be it.
okay, Keith, why don't you address the reserves? And why don't you just address in general our budget for the parks for this year?
Well, we have reserved that too.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about general fund reserves now. We're not talking about park reserves, right?
Right.
I mean, if it's park reserves.
Never included.
You must speak in the mic. I'm sorry, Keith.
So Keith, just for clarification, you're talking about the township park reserve.
No,
No, okay.
I have all of the reserves here, but under the general fund, there is around $2 million of undesignated right now.
Right.
So that is where it could come from.
How much is in the park reserves at this point?
190, I don't know off the top of my head. Okay. Hold on a second. Yeah, so there's $192,000 in undesignated. This is all as of June 30th.
Right.
And they do have 400,000, but that's for a new
I
building.
mean, to spend over $500,000 on a park is just kind of what it costs. I understand that, I mean, things are bad. I don't think things will improve. But I would like to see maybe us burden share this with our reserves half and parks reserves half. And that way, we need to keep flexible and nimble on our general fund. But you just never know when something's gonna come up, like. I mean, so if we would pay half of that and Parks Reserve pay the other half, I think that would be more than fair.
But we have it in the budget, not to, I'm sorry.
Didn't we give them 50,000 for something last month?
58,000 to cover one going full time.
Yeah.
Right, right, for staffing. So I mean, we've been generous, with the parks. And I just, I'm a little protective of the general fund, that's all. Bernie.
So I agree. We have been generous, but I think they've been sort of underfunded for years. When I looked back and you look at our Parks Master Plan, we've never come close to being able to do what that master plan says. So I just think this would be well spent. They already have 300 something from ARPA funds. So we're only talking 211. I think we should just
Bite the bullet.
bite the bullet and take it out of our reserves.
I would support that.
Definitely time for something south of Getty's to happen.
Right.
Good for the residents.
Right. Okay, can I call,
I'd like to move that we take the money, half of it out of general reserves and half of it out of parks reserve so that we can fund the $211,864.78.
Support, did you say?
That,
One.
I want to bring up a point where, we said you've been generous the last couple of years and you have. But this is a national figure I'm going to give you here. This is NRP national funding. Per capita spending nationally is averaging $94,000 per cap. I'm sorry, $94 per capita. We spend $23 per capita. So we are drastically underfunded.
Only levy 7 mills, whereas Ypsilanti levies 35, Ann Arbor
And that's why I said national. That's why I said it's an average.
I think it's fair that we just split the burden like that.
We have a motion on the floor.
We got a motion on the floor.
can I do a friendly amendment to it or
That
tell me?
was a friendly amendment.
No,
No,
no, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
No,
That
all
was discussion.
No, it's
Okay.
right.
Yes.
And then we have a second.
so my friendly amendment is to do 75% general fund, 25%.
I disagree.
Okay, well, that's the end of that.
Can I ask a question? Does the Board of Trustees have the authority to spend park commission money?
I don't know about that one, but we certainly fund your entire operation.
For sure. Yeah, yep. That's why I asked you.
No, I mean, we fund everything.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about the answer to that. But,
We'll find out. Are we tabling this?
well,
or-
how long is the bid good for?
Pardon me?
Is the bid good for 30 days?
Okay.
Okay.
30 days.
Yeah, we should probably investigate whether we can even use park.
That has never come up.
No, I know. But when I first came, the reserves were about a little over 400,000. So we've spent 200,000 since I've been here. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Are we tabling this? Cause I'm just wondering if we're tabling, we need to
We need a
cease the
motion.
conversation.
Motion to table.
Rhonda, was that your motion?
Don't you have to
today?
vote first?
No, you get a motion to table with support, then you vote on that. There can be no more discussion.
Move that we table pending additional information.
Is there support for that? Okay, so a motion to table, there's no discussion on the motion table, it's just a yes or no vote, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed.
No,
We'll table this, we need to do a little research, I mean, the bids came in awfully high. Well, one, don't look disappointed.
No, they did come in higher than we thought. That's for sure.
By about 200,000.
Yeah, but I am disappointed. I know we spend, we just talked about before earlier in the agenda, that we're gonna do a septic system over at the Dixboro Green, which is needed over there. And we fund the well and the sanitary, no questions asked. And this is right in the middle of our neighborhood over there, right in the middle of where those people need it. So yeah, I am disappointed.
Okay. Have a
I
seat.
think
I'm disappointed with you
I'm
as a
disappointed as
trustee.
well. I just feel like you asked a valid question that we need to get an answer for. If that question would not have come up, I think we would have, everybody was ready to move
No.
forward, but I think that's
You second Lisa's, which included it coming out of
out
parks.
of parks, but when he asked the question, that's where the
The issue
the
arose.
Yeah.
issue arose. So
Exactly.
now we're like,
We need to make sure that we're doing things in decent order.
Mike. You must speak in the mic, Keith. There are people
Yeah.
that are,
this-
thank you.
That might be very well true.
Yeah, I think that was, if I'm remembering right, and we have to really look at it again, but I don't believe you can. Once that money is theirs, it's theirs.
Yeah.
I'm not positive about it, but that's a separate question. I
know.
mean,
I don't know if Fred would have an answer to that.
Brad, you too have to speak in the mic. I'm sorry. Thank you. Perhaps you need to get a new seat up here.
New hip.
I would like to check the issue, but my initial thought on this is number one, where is the source of the funding that is going to the Parks Department? If it's coming from the general fund, as a rule, because it is under the control of because it's coming from the general fund. Now, if we had a separate millage for parks, no, that we definitely could not. But if it's coming from the general fund and it's part of the budget that the board has adopted, as a rule, the board would have a right, I believe. But I will double check that and get you an answer because obviously you voted to table.
So it's tabled, so
So
we'll
there's-
move on. Thanks, Juan. So
Mm-hmm.
it won't be that hard to figure out, Keith. Yeah. Okay, so this is a resolution to move oversight of Nancy Mason to controller. Keith, likely we were gonna table that. Can I get a motion to table? it
So
to
moved.
a certain date, a date certain?
So October 20.
The October board
We
meeting.
missed one. Landon,
Okay,
Hold on a
let's
minute.
back up. We'll back up.
That's when we switched them all out of order here.
Yeah,
So now we're on D, Ken, 60.
yes, and so that will be.
Thanks, Landon. Oh.
That will be
that's-
resolution 60 to approve agreement with Washington County Clerk for early voting administration 24 through 26.
Just a little background information on that. That has something to do with the new structure of voting. The 9 days of early voting. We will be participating with the county with 22 other jurisdictions and they will run the elections. This portion would be our amount, the $6,100 just for the early voting aspect of voting, not for the general election on November, I think it's 3rd, we said, whatever day it is in November 2024. So that's what this resolution is.
All right, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Seemed pretty clear cut to me. All in favor of approving the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. So we move down there then to
61.
to E, which is 61. And Bernice, you wanted to table that to the October board meeting?
Yes.
All right, do I have, you have support for that?
support.
Okay, all in favor of tabling 61 to October, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, we move to resolution 62. And that's approval invoice for renewal of service contract with DocuWare.
Mhm.
So can I get a motion on this or?
So move.
Support.
Okay, so. Get that. Thank you. So that's for $5,349 and that's the rate to be able to maintain software and upgrades in education. So it's-
Just to continue the contract.
yeah. Continue. So it's $5,349 and, since we haven't really been doing much on DocuWare, I don't think.
Oh, we've been doing a lot on DocuWare. Have you been doing anything from the treasurer's?
I have not, but Sonia
That's what I
has.
mean, the treasurer's office. And the building department has too. It's very, very useful.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I think we need to beef it up a little bit about the scanning project to get things done faster, get them archived faster, but that's fine. All right, so we have a motion and support.
Yes.
Okay, any more discussion on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approve a second contractor for sidewalk flags.
Right.
Yeah, let's go back and do a roll call vote on the DocuWare contract.
Raviston absent, Finley, yes, Lewis.
Yes.
Linky,
Yes.
McGill, Seacrest, Schwartz, it's unanimous.
The next one is, I want a little clarification on it. 63. This is at a meeting, I think in July or August, we approved the form of sidewalk contract. I didn't know if we needed to come back every time we were gonna get a new contractor, or as long as we met the requirements of the contract, which be that the person is qualified and can boast the $1 million additional insured that Irma and I could just hire people to get it done, but it doesn't really matter to me. But we do need more people to work on this. And
Well, the reason why it's here is because it's a work that we're contracting to do. No, you didn't need permission, but we're approving a second vendor.
yeah,
But
that's fine.
yeah.
I'll bring them back. That's no problem. But I would like to, like, in a situation where, like, if we got a third or fourth contractor, do I have to wait to the whole next meeting in order to sign them up? I thought as long as we had that one contract and it was, contract was signed and they met the requirements of the contract, that we would or be able to just sign them up and get it working.
So may I comment on that? Technically, you're absolutely correct. And I think it's you and I that was supposed to be signing up on them.
Yeah, so.
This is bringing to the attention, not for permission, it's you have an actual vendor.
Yeah,
That's
we do.
why it's here.
Okay. So what you're saying is, this would clarify, Lynette, is this is more of a report than a.
It's you're hiring someone.
Yeah, we are hiring somebody to sign that contract, the vendor's contract that Fred put together.
Right.
So we're bringing this one, which is Precision Concrete, to the board because we didn't know if we had the authority just to hire somebody, which I hope the board would say we do. So we
That's
don't have
not
to-
why we're bringing, anytime we enter into an agreement or a contract, we get the board's approval, even though you and I have the permission to go on and have this person work. You still have to bring it to the board's attention. Am I making sense?
Yeah, I definitely bring it to your attention, but this one here is granting us authority to enter into the contract. And that's a little different than reporting.
So,
Barney, you got a question?
so I thought too, what Ken was saying, that once we approved the language and we added, remember, the conflict of interest
Right.
Statement, that all you would be doing is coming back to us and saying, okay, we now have added X company,
Right.
but you don't have to show us the contract again.
Well, we can send you a copy of the contract if you want.
We don't have to show the contract, but we still need something. We do this, we do the same thing for all our vendors. We do the same thing for Robert Butler. We know that he's out there working, but we still bring a resolution to the
Yeah,
table.
but that's one resolution for the whole year. I was my understanding, but I wasn't sure.
Contract. It's
Is
okay.
when we approved that contract with the conflict of interest language in it, that Irma and I could analyze the contractor. And if we thought that they could do the job, we could go ahead and sign them up. So we didn't have to wait to another meeting because we're getting into October. We need to get.
Yeah, I thought this.
So it's Irma, it's you and I that sign off, right? It's not you and,
There had to be-
you can bring Irma, but it's
Interest, he met all the thresholds.
absolutely before they're hired, it's you and I.
Was, and as long as you guys were okay, that's fine. You could bring to the next meeting. We hired a new.
That's what this is.
Is that what
and
this?
That's what I said earlier.
All right,
So we are.
moving right
okay with
along.
hiring Precision as long as you and Lynette are. good.
Right.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Well, all right, well, let's just stick with this,
Howard,
okay, which is fine, because this one says hereby approves the contract. In the future, if we were to find somebody next week, we could approve it and report back.
Who is we?
Correct.
Irma and myself.
You and I,
Lynette,
Well, Lynette, you.
with Irma.
But you're not gonna go out and find the contract, so we are.
yes, absolutely.
Well, that's
But it has to come before you and Lynette to ensure that they met the checklist
Absolutely.
threshold And if.
before it's offered, is what she's
Absolutely.
saying.
Then at that point, as long as you guys are happy, we're
Right.
happy, you just bringing it before the board to say we've hired a new contractor and we go, oh, okay.
More or less FYI.
Yeah, so I think that we should pass this one, even though it says hereby approves the contract,
So moved.
just so that we
Support,
keep everything in order for the meeting.
you wanna,
Yeah.
We do a roll
do a
call?
call on it.
yeah. Schwartz, Seacrest,
Yes.
McGill,
Yes.
Linky,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Finley, yes. Cavison absent, unanimous.
So the next is a resolution opposing the Vela water withdrawal by Mid-Michigan Materials in the Charter Township of Ann Arbor. I don't know how much people have dug into what's happening at the corner of Earhart and
Warren,
Joy Road, I think, believe it is.
right between them.
But that's was Washtenaw sand and gravel for years. I mean, like 50 years. They were withdrawing under a permit from the DEQ about little over 2 million gallons a day to wash their gravel. The claim is that DEQ or Eagle now is requiring them to actually double their ability to withdraw for whatever reason. I don't know. And they are seeking the permit to double up on their withdrawal to like 4.2 million gallons a day. The concern that we all should have is what effect this might have on the aquifer. Because Superior Township residents have wells within 2.5 miles of this particular site. So all this resolution does is says to Eagle, please take these things into consideration before making a final decision.
Yeah.
So if I get a motion,
So moved.
Support.
okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 You mind if I just took 2 minutes, 1 minute, need some water?
Background.
Everybody can stand up and stretch if you'd like.
You got this. Do it.
I am. It's, what do you wear?
We're moving pretty good. Until then. Well, Lisa had to use the
Well-
restroom, but she said, go ahead and.
Most of
continue.
these are motions, not resolutions that are left.
So where are we at? We did the water.
We're on the
withdrawal.
AT&T.
So we have a motion to approve the AT&T Metro Act right of way extension. This is an annual.
It's not annual. The extension is for a term to end on December 31st, 2028. So it's at like every four. There's no, it's a motion, Ken. You're not gonna find a resolution.
Yeah, this is just permit for them to work in our right of ways. That's all it is. I'd have to fill it out and send. it.
Move motion to approve AT&T Metro Act right-of-way extension.
Okay, all in favor, say, is there any questions first? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The next is a motion to approve a recommendation to the Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs for application considering for Moonwings Cafe. I get a motion on this?
So moved.
Support.
Okay. Any questions?
Yes. So this is this a liquor? Yes, it is. Never mind. Never mind. Got it.
Want to do a vote?
So what's-
It's been moving, so she doesn't have one.
You withdraw?
And I withdrew.
All right, so this is so they can get a certain kind of liquor license or beer and wine license, so they can serve on premises.
It's been moved and supported.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. Motion to reinstate the education bonus for current employees with the addition of recognizing professional licensure and certifications. Well, I think that we definitely should put in the educational bonus back, but I think we need to, we can do that, but I think we need to determine professional licensure and certifications. We have people going there all the time for lifelong learning, and I think we might need to break it down a little bit, like how much are we gonna give an assessor when the assessor goes from a 1 to a 2, or from a 2 to a 3, so, and then the S1 license, the S licenses, so. I don't know, we don't say how much.
Those are
Can I-
required licenses for them to execute their,
I understand that, but how much are we going to provide?
be providing all of it because they're,
Well, how much? Give me a dollar figure of that.
how much does the state charge for them to get recertified?
Well, we pay for that.
This,
We pay for
we're
certification.
talking about the educational.
Talking about, yeah, and whatever.
I
they're-
think what this says is, we received an email saying to grandfather, let me see what we are on. Yeah. Okay, to reinstate the education bonus for the current employees, not to bring in, hold on one sec, for the new employees. And so what happened was a discussion had occurred in one of our meetings. Why are we not giving something to those that are certified in their profession, not just having a degree, a master's in whatever, or a bachelor's in whatever. These are certified people in their own skills. Now, as it relates to the question you just asked, I don't think that we're looking at giving them, okay, you got it, 1 certification for level 1, certification for 2 and 3, and increasing. And I think it's just a set amount that we have given the previous educational bonuses for those that have degrees.
What you're saying is extend the education bonus to include.
Yes,
certification.
that's what this is.
Cause we really always did that. It maybe wasn't spelled out, so.
We have never done that. That's why there's been a concern.
Ricky, every time he got a new cert, we brought him back and we gave him more money, but.
No, this is not about Ricky.
It's about paying for the
Right.
actual certification
Yeah.
that they need.
So
for
if,
the license
I'll
that
just,
they
let's,
have in order to execute the job.
so I'd like to
no
make a motion to support this, this is not a resolution. To support, reinstating the education bonus for current employees and adding those employees that are recognized for their professional licensure and certification. And to make a clarification, if you have an advanced or a degree and a license, no, you don't get double dipping. You only get 1. So that's the clarity in all of
The
this.
education bonus is that you get extra money to your salary for education, a certain amount. Right. But like,
3% a year.
Right.
right. Now on
You guys gotta,
on
you,
certifications, are we gonna do the same? I think what I'm a little confused about is we've always paid for certifications.
I'm
You know,
sorry,
like-
let me ask a question. When you say pay for, do you mean actually when they went to take the test to get the certification, we physically paid that registration fee? I want to make sure.
And books and study materials.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's what you're saying. Okay, I think that was different from what Rhonda was saying.
That's why I was trying to make sure.
Right,
that I was
okay,
understanding
yeah.
that if an employee, as a part of their job, is required to be licensed or certified, that we're taking care of that upfront for them.
Yeah.
They're not being, or whatever. As far as the reinstatement of the education bonus, my question is, if they're getting 3% annual, they're getting this on top. They're also getting a regular
They're getting the regular salary.
annual
Yeah.
bonus as well,
Well, bonus, what do you mean?
or whatever the.
Increase.
That regular
Increase.
annual.
A COLA or whatever you want to call it, cost of living increase, the 4% that Keith is
Well, they're
proposing.
not getting, so.
Whatever it is, but it,
Uh,
right, what you're saying.
yeah, they get, if you have a master's, a bachelor's degree and associate's degree, I think there's a different breakout for it, isn't there? Keith?
3% bachelors, 2% associates,
Masters.
nothing, 3.
So the employee receives that over and above their regular salary spread through the year.
It's not spread through the year. It's
No,
It's given at one time and I
one
do-
time on your anniversary date.
yes.
All right, with your longevity.
One time.
One time, once per year, you get 3%. Plus your longevity.
Once they get anniversary. Then a person who just has a license or a certification and maybe
Nothing.
has no degree, it's nothing.
Correct.
So if that's what you want to change, I think that's a little different. We could probably talk about that.
I think I had something on the table.
But that's what I was saying.
That's what I thought you were going.
Yeah, I have it on the tape. I move that we reinstate the education bonus for current employees with adding recognized professional licensures and certifications to the employees that have those.
So are we gonna give them a raise? Or are we just recognizing that them, or we?
They get the same 1% annual with longevity. Percentage.
So my question would be that we have a lot of different certifications. So our building inspector has certifications. We have our assessors all have to be certified. And Paula is almost at the highest certification. Will we be
See,
giving?
I really think this should be for employees, not for people who are responsible for departments. In other words, managers.
It excludes managers.
I personally don't think managers should be, that's just I'm just one person.
Bernice?
So we're not talking about what the fiscal implications are. I think that before we vote on this, we need to figure out how much this is gonna cost.
Exactly.
And what are we saying, like, for certifications? Are you saying for level one, we haven't, nothing spelled out. Level 1 and 2, do they get 2%? 3 and 4 get
That's
3%? So we need to have more of a plan. I don't feel comfortable voting for it without.
And I would tell you, Brian, I agree with you 100%. And it won't be that much money. You know,
So
it
like
really
18
won't be.
didn't you do
much
that?
Money.
Can you?
I don't have it.
Okay. You don't have it on.
I have to go through all. the
That's okay. What we should do is, like you said, we can,
We should
and
have
make a
more
determination
information.
whether that merits an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree level of.
okay.
Okay.
So we're.
So what do you want to do with it? You
I
want
think
to-
they said they would. Lisa has.
If I may, I would like to at least, if possible, because of the way that the resolution is written, I don't know if we can, but I would like to reinstate those who were already receiving the educational incentive. And I'm not exactly sure if I'm even stating that correctly, but I would like to at least do that. And with respect to the second portion of that, I would like for us to have a discussion about that. And again, to come up with some kind of payment, some kind of plan of action as to how it goes, and into even discussion. Thank you very much. And also to even say whether or not managers should be entitled to that as well.
I support that.
So this is what you are doing. It's called divide the motion. You want to
Okay,
divide the
thank you.
motion.
Okay.
That we would vote on the education reinstatement tonight.
Correct.
And then the other part we would table to
Right.
another meeting.
That's what she said.
Correct.
Okay, so when we say it's only current employees, does that mean that any new employee coming on board will not get this educational benefit?
Correct.
I think we gotta make that clear.
Do I need
Okay.
to make that in this motion, or is that something separate when we have the
You've
other?
already made the motion, so it's a divided motion. The divided motion is to approve the education portion today and table the other. We should table it to a date certain. So you want to do it October or November?
Could you make sure you're including in your motion that is for those that are currently receiving the benefit, which I thought you did say.
Yes, that's what I
Right.
thought I
So
said.
that question was answered.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm good. All right. So all in favor of Lisa's motion, divide motion, say aye. Okay. Any opposed? Saying none. Okay, this is a motion to approve payment to ASI Asphalt. Lynette, you wanna take that?
Actually, I really don't need to. It's clear English, clear language.
So moved.
Well, there's a concern here in moving this motion. Where's the money? coming from? This is, this was something that was supposed to be paid for by the library. So we need to, as a board, figure out where that money is coming from before we approve it. And that's what I sent to, I answered that concern. It's not approved funding. We don't have any. It's just a memo that was signed off by the supervisor.
Right.
That's the last attached
So
without without the board. No,
I signed a change order. That's true. On, I think, September 3rd last year. September 1st, it looks like.
it's right here, September 2nd.
September 2nd.
And I wasn't done. That's it.
And I signed that pursuant to the resolution that was passed at the prior meeting.
That's not true.
Well, that's what my thought was, because we approved at the prior meeting, the resolution
For 220 something, whatever it is. So in other words, we approved
50 from the enhancement.
all of that's in this detail. So the bottom line is we need to just figure out where the money is coming from, because it's not something that should be coming out of the township dollars. I love and support the library to no end. We just need to bring this to the table so that we can figure out where these funds are coming from.
So the question before the board is whether we pay AOSI. And
It's not, we do pay them.
We haven't paid them yet. have we?
No, I just wanted to bring to the board's
Yeah,
attention.
We need to pay them and then figure out where's the money coming from. Whether or not this can be charged back to the library because it's part of that widening, or this was part of the safety project, which we took on ourselves. My understanding, I thought this money was going to the safety project.
None of that's, it's all clearly stated in the,
But the Instant District Library, all costs charged by ASI are paid. by the
Right.
library.
very clear.
It does say that.
So I would like to move payment to ASI with the money coming from Ypsilanti Public Library. And making that clear.
What she's saying is that the township is not responsible for this payment. Is the payment that the library, our new Superior Charter Township Branch Library, is responsible for
I
paying.
agree that the library is responsible to pay for everything for the widening. But we took upon ourselves to pay for the safety item out there
You
and
can't,
those flashing rapid beacons.
that has nothing to do with
But
this.
if that's, yeah. Is that part of
It
this?
has nothing to do
I
with
don't know.
this. No, it doesn't.
Well, they can figure that out over it.
So are we moving it then?
As long as we get, as long as we're clear that it's an Ypsilanti Public Library charge and we're gonna get
I
that money
think
back.
that's to
from
be
them.
determined. You
So-
know, that's something that maybe Keith could work on tomorrow and kind of get a resolution on this.
Well, maybe again, table this one.
You
and
can't,
get-
okay, we have to pay
we
them.
have to
Hey.
pay it.
We have not paid them
We need to pay it.
and they must be paid.
Yeah, pay them, but I.
My only concern is that this is not a cost that is, the township should be paying for. All of
you-
this
you-
and the backing, it's not May.
Okay. I mean,
It's the library that is responsible for this charge. So we have to figure out what you just said in your motion that you made.
So I move that Superior Township pays this charge on behalf of Ypsi Public Library with the expectation that Ypsi Public Library will pay the township that amount.
as long as we verify that this is actually should be back charged to FC Library and not part of the safety project. And if you're able to show that, then that's fine.
I don't mean to put anything on anyone that works in bookkeeping or a controller, but do you have any information on this? Other than what you have? Okay. There's nothing based on what you're saying. So we need to pay it. And we need to pay them immediately because they have not been paid for a couple of months. And I don't know if this has anything to do with the meeting that you were gonna have with Administrator Dill regarding the library to pay, to get them to sign off on some funds or to split with us some I don't even know what that is, yeah, but it was for the library, so I don't know if that was specifically for this item or to cover what's not covered in their budget. But we still would need to know about that in advance too, whatever that you're doing with Greg Deal as it relates to the library.
So Greg hasn't set up an appointment yet with me. He said he was going to. But the idea was that two county commissioners requested that the county pay, I think it was $160,000, don't hold me to that, and contribute that towards all this whole debt. And that, Greg Dill said he had good news for me, but he's never told me that it happened or that the county board has made a decision. My only concern is we don't charge the library something that was actually a township charge. And we charge that library for all the costs they incurred as a result of our original contract.
So Ken, we don't have to keep going and repeating this. I think this is where we make our residents very frustrated with our meetings. This information is here is correct. This is a charge that's supposed to go to the library. So whatever we do from this point, we need to pay the bill and we need to figure out, will the charge go to the library? Or are we going to take that charge from the library? Or I don't know what that 160,000 you're referring to with the county, but bottom line, they need to be paid.
Okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. If it's been incurred as a result of the widening, yeah, they should pay. If not.
It's right here. It's in here,
Can I call the question, please?
please.
Okay,
What's the question?
I just am calling the question. Can we have a vote?
Yeah. Okay, Lynette, you want to take the roll on that, or let's see here.
What are we taking the roll on?
Motion to approve payment. We can do that by motion. So all in favor of paying ASI?
You gotta support it
But it was-
first. Wait a minute. What are you saying, Landis? I just said
Oh,
that.
okay.
I just said that. You gotta,
All right, so do we get support for this?
Do you remember what the
Right.
motion was? The motion was that we pay ASI the 58,000, whatever the balance is, and that we make sure that we get payment from the Ipsy Public Library to pay us back.
Support.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. with
Support.
that.
roll call vote. Did you call, someone called the question?
Just
I
do a
thought
question.
someone, oh,
Yeah, on a motion for payment. So
yeah,
all-
you can, you're right.
yeah,
My
all in
bad.
favor of the motion, say aye.
I,
Any opposed? No one opposed. All right, so we move on. This is motion to rescind bills for payment presented by Attorney Fred Lucas on behalf of Attorney Ron Dinowith to clear debt with LaSalle and redirect payment to OHM.
Motion 21, 20, 32.
Move the motion. Support. Got motion. In support for that motion to rescind the bills that I guess we sent it to the wrong party and we're just reversing that now. Is that essentially what it was? Lynn?
I think it's not just reversing it. Thank you, Fred. He's on his way up. I could try to explain a couple of things. When Fred came to us with this payment, he said it was supposed to go directly to LaSalle. And then we received an email from George saying that, no, it doesn't go to LaSalle, it goes to OHM.
Okay, I misread the letter, the email that I received from Mr. Denowith. Was under the impression that was to be paid to LaSalle, but it is actually a payment to OHM. The payment has not been made, so we're not recovering it. There's been no payment made. So we just need to, whatever that amount was, we gets redirected to OHM.
It's been moved and supported.
Okay, so we got a motion to support on the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
I thought so too, since it's Okay, Havison absent, Lewis,
Yes.
Finley, yes, Linky,
Yes.
McGill,
Yes.
Seacrest,
Yes.
Swartz,
Yes.
it's unanimous.
Okay, that takes us down to the motion to appoint parks commissioners to fill the vacancy left by Terry Lee Lansing and Marion Morris. Juan, do we have some recommendations?
Yes.
It's in here.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us, Sharon, hang on, why don't you tell us who you submitted? I'm sorry, just for purposes of the audience.
I'll let Martha handle this one. As the Parks and Rec Commission Chair, she wrote the memo and was instrumental in the recommendation.
Small correction, I'm the secretary, not the chair. We had two remarkable candidates apply for this position. Both have lived nearly their whole lives in Superior Township. Curtis Freeman is a graduate of Warren High School and Eastern Michigan University. He's raised his kids here and is very interested in remaining active in the community. Jack Smiley, we all know, has turned the world of land preservation around for the better over more than 30 years of dedicated, effective activism. And we have a chance to put them both on this park commission. We did not anticipate a second opening coming up. Unfortunately, health challenges before Marion Morris called for her to leave us a little sooner than we expected. But we do have two amazing applicants, and we ask that you bring us back up to full staffing with their participation.
Do you want to introduce them, Martha?
I don't know if Curtis is here tonight. Jack Smiley is with us, and he's a resident of Cherry Hill Road. Curtis lives 2 doors down from me on Sheffield, so
Sharon, you had your hands up, but
Sharon, you must come and speak to the mic. You must. I'm sorry. And Lord.
Well, I was a park commissioner for 12 years. And because my husband was a township clerk, I was told that I couldn't run because it would be a conflict of interest. So now that unexpectedly another position was open, I'm just requesting that we open up the interviews again. I actually did email Juan and ask about it. I was out of the country, so I missed the deadline. But so when he said it was too late because I missed the deadline, I feel that it should be open again because it is a new position, and it's only fair to the public in general of others who may want to legitimately put their application in to be considered.
all right, thank you, Sharon. Lynette?
You know, this is exactly what I was trying to relay early on in my comments to the Parks Commission and to Juan, not knowing what you're saying, Sharon, that you were told you couldn't run. The position became open after the fact, and therefore it should be posted. And for the reasons you're saying, even more so, tells me that as the clerk, the way we do open positions, you advertise for one. And with that one position, you didn't know that there would be others with Marion submitting her letter. So the right thing to do, regardless of how it turns out, is to re-advertise.
So. Yeah, go ahead, Martha. You're representing the park commission tonight.
the Park Commission understands your position and we're not opposing that. We did say in our memo that we were recommending Mr. Freeman be appointed to the position vacated by Ms. Lansing. And that we recommended Mr. Smiley be appointed to the position vacated by Ms. Morris. I would ask that you do at least take our recommendation and fill the position that was vacated by Ms. Lansing. And then post
Absolutely.
your position, and to his credit, Mr. Smiley said he would defer to Mr.
Right.
Freeman for the first appointment.
I would move to support that in a motion.
Do we have support? So the motion,
I move the motion
you're moving.
to appoint, I'm sorry, motion on Curtis Freeman for the open Parks and Rec position that was advertised.
That's the motion. Do we have support for that motion? Support. Okay. Now is there questions?
What is the conflict? Am I missing something?
I think that what Sharon is referring to, that she stepped down from the park commission because her husband in the past was the clerk. Is that what you were talking about? Is that the conflict you were talking about?
Well, no, she mentioned that she was told that there was a conflict of interest.
Oh,
That,
There
but
is-
not on this issue.
no, she was told that.
Oh,
Years ago.
okay.
That wasn't clear. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that, Rhonda.
Okay,
I was like, huh?
Thank you for clarifying that.
okay, so we got a motion and support on the table to appoint Curtis Freeman as one of the park commissioners, and I guess we'll come back with another recommendation at a later date. Are we all good with that? All in favor? You got a question? Lisa?
No, this is.
Aye.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Discuss our relationship with OHM, their contract and expenditures to date. I really don't see how we can really do that any justice tonight. This is probably something that should go to our
Yeah.
working session.
I would agree with that.
Too.
Okay, so why don't we just pull this from the agenda and we'll deal with it at a work session at some point. Is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. So a motion to receive preliminary budgets for 2024 all funds. Keith, you want to talk at all about that?
I'll be here the next 2 days, so I would like to discuss any changes when you guys have looked this over. Already a few things have come up tonight that I do want to address in the budget. So that's all I really wanted to say on it. This is the first stab at it. And originally I was going to do this and present it at October. But Nancy and I worked on this a couple of weeks ago. And so Ken can set the public hearing for probably in October. So that's all I wanted to say is, I did put a memo on how we arrived at some of the items. So if you have questions, you can send me an email or tomorrow or Wednesday, I'm here.
So will we not have this is part of.
The mic, please.
So I was hoping that we could have a working session and discuss the budget.
Well, maybe that will be included in that. Maybe we have to have a couple of sessions.
Right, because I would like to hear from the department heads just what their thoughts were and give them due time to explain to us what's going on.
Okay, Keith might be able to answer some of that, but not. now.
That's what I was
no, I think-
said to you before.
The-
Right.
the budget
Right.
I
tonight.
think the working session is a good idea. And even if I'm not here, I'm available, via phone.
Right,
So-
that's what I would like to do.
All right, do we have a motion on the table on that?
No, we do not.
Support.
Okay, so motion to receive preliminary fund budgets for all funds for 2024, say aye.
Aye.
Shall receive them, and now we need a motion to schedule the truth and taxation hearing for October 16th, 2023. Can I get a motion for that?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, bills for payment and record of disbursement. So if I can get a motion for bills and records.
So moved.
Support. Any questions on that, Bernice?
Yes, please. So on the very first page, the general bank. I see that we paid Infinity $2,000, but for some reason I was thinking it was like around 12. Is that not? That. I'm sorry, we're paying them. We're not, is this, wait, no,
General
I'm
Bank,
sorry.
General
We're
Bank.
getting money from them, not paying them. So what's that about? We talked about getting, talked about getting money
Get our payment bills. for-
payment. Yeah, we talked about taking money out of their, yes, yes.
Oh, the construction.
Okay, so here we're paying them.
Right.
Oh, okay, okay, all right,
That's-
okay, that makes sense.
They're really reimbursed.
Yeah, that makes sense, okay. And then the Superior Township Fire Fund, money was deposited into wrong account 4390. Was that, so what account was that supposed to go into? It was just a skinny.
You must speak into the mic. Thank you.
That was a,
It was just a scan issue when it was done through, when the cash receipt came in.
okay. So where was it?
It went into building.
Okay, okay.
And then they had to pay for it.
Right, let's see what else. So. The OHM advisors, we paid 14,761. Sometimes, right, this is direct charges to the general fund. It's not that flow through, right? This is
Talking
on,
about,
this is
page
14,761
right here.
right here. Yeah, all of these.
Well,
Are
it
these
could be-
direct?
The trust and agency is part of the general bank.
Okay, so it could be
yeah, it
either
could be
or.
Either.
Okay,
Nancy, those are mainly escrows, correct?
Yeah, it could be either or because trust and agency is part of the general bank.
okay, and on the last page of general, there's a TAS network charge and it says email and printing. It's not for very much, but I know, are we still having problems with people getting their emails from? Because I noticed that conversation today. Is that what this was about? Where they were trying to.
I don't have
out?
problems getting my emails.
If this was a conversation about this today, that wouldn't be this charge because it wouldn't be on here
Right.
right now.
Okay, no, I thought
think-
maybe
she
they
didn't-
tried, did they try to fix it?
That might have been me,
Okay,
because I've been having lots of problems with my printer.
okay,
And so they came out and
Okay.
serviced it.
Okay.
And then found out that it wasn't their printer that they ordered for us. We had ordered it through Amazon, and so, yeah, so that wasn't their printer. So I think that's a charge when they came out to look at my printer.
okay. And then in the fire fund, we paid Metro Airport truck a couple of big amounts for repairing a vehicle. Is that the,
And they can do that.
We had a truck
with
out of commission.
emergencies.
okay, right,
And it was a big amount.
it was like
Big
about
time.
15,000. What happened? Which truck?
That was engine number 2,
Okay.
which we've been having problems with all along since January. We took down the Metro Airport truck to have it aligned and come to find out the whole suspension system needed work done on it. There were a lot of things that were damaged or not damaged, but broken over the years. And it needed to be done. The truck was out of service and I needed to get it back.
So it's all cool now.
It's all cool now, yes.
Thanks. And let's see. Okay, on the very last page, it looks like all of these charges, if you look at the it's utility charges, there's the LaSalle lawsuit, wet well clean, electric Clark lift. These are all for the new pump station. Is that correct?
I don't think the bond interest.
Well, other than the bond interest.
A wet well clean, that would probably, yeah, that's Power Back to Michigan. I don't know if it was for that particular wet well. Or, because that happened in April, down at Clark Station, Clark Pump Station. This might have been one of the other pump stations. We have several that, that might have cleaned. I don't know. Nobody's here from utilities.
Okay, well, hopefully.
Oh,
But you know the information.
Was part of the,
New pump station.
it was part of the new pump station.
okay.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yes. Yep.
Any other questions anybody has? Okay, all in favor of receiving or making the payment, say aye. Pleas and petitions, is there anybody who would like to make a plea or petition to the township board tonight? That you, Irma, okay.
Like 30 seconds. I sent the board email today, and most of the things that I said in that email are real-time resident concerns. And I would, instead of me getting up here and reading it so that everybody can hear, I just would hope that all of you would read it and and all of you take action. Because every one of those concerns, I have made promises that I will address, and I'm just not going to let it go.
If I can make a comment too, Irma, that will also, since you sent it to the entire board, will be scanned in the board packet.
Okay, anybody else?
I just plead that you guys really do something about Fireman's Park. Those families over there have waited long enough for ample, viable equipment. So that is my plea, my petition. Thank you
very much.
Eric?
Eric Hills, formerly known as the Gettys Ridge Headache. I have a question more than anything. And it's because it's all come down. I heard that Governor Engler or Governor Whitmer approved money. And when you say you're going to use money for sidewalks, and then you don't. Now, I don't know who I'm speaking to here because I haven't been coming to meetings.
Speaking to the board.
Okay, I'm speaking to all of you then. Why would you do that? People are hurting right now. Economically, it's the toughest times I think I've ever seen in my life in this state. Anybody want to address this?
So what's the specific question here?
Well, the specific question is that a block of sidewalk costs $300 to a homeowner. If they can touch it up and repair it, it might be 60.
We've been allowing that. Irma goes out on every request, takes a look, she reviews every single flag. If we feel that OHM stretched the ordinance to the limit, then we make some allowances.
We got
We'll allow mud jacking and a few other things, but Irma will go out for every single complaint or query. She'll go out and she'll try to resolve.
We got 4 blocks of sidewalk. One was broken. I'll admit that. That one needs to be done. But the other 3 were fine. And that's according to your concrete guy that I talked to today.
So that's at your house?
That's at my house.
Well, oh yeah, I met with you today. What did I tell you to do? Call somebody.
Call somebody, right?
Yeah, you took the name and number, right?
Yep.
Call her tomorrow.
Yep.
She'll-
Yep. She's around, but I'll call her. I'll call her tomorrow.
She's right back there.
I know she is. Okay.
Is that it, Eric?
That's it. Thank you. Well, one other question. What way was the contact point?
The mic?
The email, the mail, the phone number? What way did you guys send out the message on that?
By mail.
By snail mail?
Snail mail.
Okay, thank you.
You got somebody on the, you guys, Landis, do you have somebody on the,
Yeah, I just said it.
on Zoom? Could you, patch him through?
Just read.
Well, I'll
Read
read your
it,
comment.
right.
So it is a Steph on Zoom saying sidewalks are $300 a flag, $400 if it is abutting a driveway, $200 additional for root grinding that Gettys Ridge does require. The flags in Gettys Ridge were mismarked 3 times and they proceeded with demolition anyway.
Well, that's her plea and that's her comment. Thanks, Steph, for that. Is there anybody else who wants to make a comment to the board or plea and petition, sir?
Good evening, board. Dana Harris, Bromley Park subdivision. My comment is just, I'm new here. It's first one. If some of the brothers and sisters that get up and speak, if you could introduce yourselves, so some of us new people that might come in the future would know who you are, I'd appreciate that.
You talking about?
No, not the board. This gentleman spoke, the lady spoke.
Okay.
He spoke. I don't know who you are. You might be down on paper, but for new members of Superior Township that may come to this meeting, it would be enlightening to know who
Yes,
we
sir.
are. I mean, the gentleman did speak of spending a tremendous amount of money, which I'm a taxpayer in this community. I would like to know who he is. I heard him talk about Fireman's Park. I'm not saying I'm opposed or against anything, but if you're gonna speak on something and you're talking about a tremendous amount of money, I would like to know who you are.
That's a good point.
Yes,
So
it is.
in the future, I just plead that for new people and myself, and I may bring some others from my community, we just want to know who you are to get more familiar with you, especially when we're talking about dollars and cents.
What was
Thank
your
you.
name again?
Dana Harris,
Where'd you say you were from, may I ask?
Bromley Park.
Bromley.
Yes,
Thank you.
All right, so Dana.
yes, sir.
The gentleman in the Florida shirt, he's our controller, Keith Lockey. So he's in charge of the finance.
Right.
And next to him is Nancy Mason, and Nancy is our bookkeeper, our accounts payable. She works with Lynette on accounts payable, balancing this.
Yes, I seen some of the names
Yeah.
on the website. I just want to put a,
So the fire chief back there, that's Vic Chevret. That's the fire chief. In the very back, he didn't talk, but that's
Yeah, you did talk.
our attorney. Well, I was gonna say Jeff at first. That's our attorney,
Fred
Fred
Lucas.
Lucas, and then the gentleman on the other end of that table, he's Captain Jeff French of the fire department. And
The other
Juan
yeah, wow.
Bradford is from Parks. He's a park administrator. Did I get that right?
Director.
Parks and Rec Director. Okay. And then behind him is
She's the secretary.
yeah, Martha Kern Beaupre, and she is the secretary of the Parks Commission.
Then introduce Claire.
And then Claire, if you raise your hand, Claire, she works with OHM and she's assisting us with engineering projects.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, Dana, thank you. All right, anybody else?
Nice to meet you, Dan.
Right. Dana.
Amen.
Dana.
My name is Marcia Moore, and I'm with the Superior Township residents. And I wanted to say thank you for the crosswalks. The kids are using them, but there's one more concern that I have regarding that. I saw a child, about I'll say no more than like 4 or 5, was crossing, he pushed a little button and the lights came on, but this car was coming up MacArthur Boulevard, was coming real fast. And he had to slam on his brakes to prevent to hit that child. I was wondering, is there any way that the township can get with the police department and put cameras up so you can see what's going on at these intersections?
We would have to make a decision about whether or not we're gonna mount cameras in a public place. A lot of people oppose that, are taking license plate readers, but something that, the board could discuss about cameras.
Yeah, because it would be for the safety of the children. Y'all can see what's going on and law enforcement can see, what's going on. Somebody already, a dog got hit at that intersection.
Is that the new crosswalk?
Yes,
The mid-block crosswalk?
right, in front of, to cross over towards
It
the
was
park.
predicted that would have probably, but
No,
Yeah.
what we did is
All right.
some folks thought the kids
We
wouldn't
can
use
check.
them. But getting back, man, comment, even if you're in Ann Arbor or wherever you go, people don't really acknowledge those crosswalks all the time. So I'm not even sure if a camera, and he does bring up a great point that then we'll get the side of folks saying, you're reading my license plates. And that's been a major issue with people having the concern of, oh, you are targeting me as it relates to reading license plates. But hopefully we can still come up with some type of solution.
Okay.
Well, what I'll do is I'll put in a service request with the road commission where they screw those stop for pedestrians, plastic bollards in the middle of the road. You know what I'm talking about? It says stop for pedestrians. So it gives them a signal like there's kids in this area.
Okay.
I'll put a request in for that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Private charges, but you know, can't be that.
Can I make a quick call out? Because I just realized, I just saw her, for Dana. Brenda Baker is the lead for our committee to promote Superior Township. So want to make sure that if you're new to the township, that you know her.
Great call out.
Nice call, Ron.
Yeah.
See her sitting back there.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anybody else who wants to make a comment to the board? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Support.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Right. Nice meeting.
Thank you very much.
Better than most. Huh. Right. Started off
Night,
rocky,
Bill.
but it ended up good.
See ya.
Huh. Did you say, oh, if you don't stop, whatever, no way.
Everybody, once again, what to do. Try to lift your big toe and then lift your foot.
Girl, whatever, whatever. Whatever. Where'd you get 62? Look, where'd you get 62? Girl, come on. Hold on. Oh, you got out of here.